If Christianity, as far as the um, community, does not start addressing and teaching about mental illness, especially narcissistic behavior, and how that has infiltrated Christianity so much, then it's simply not going to be able to move forward in the future. It really won't. It will not be possible. Um, Religion attracts narcissistic people and a lot of other mentally ill people. The reason for this is people who are desperate, they need a reason, and people who want to have the feeling of power and control, they will use that as an avenue in order to teach people and tell other people how it is. And that is how Christianity has gotten the reputation it has today. Is you don't really see Christians out there doing bad things, but you see horrible people doing bad things in the name of Christianity. So this is for all religions, you know? I mean, if uh, many people in the US were Hindu instead of Christians, we would still see the same behaviors, the same reasoning for their behaviors. But it needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about. People are too uncomfortable mentioning this, and a lot of people will just flat out deny it. And there's no reasonable way of denying the terrible things that have been done by people that are self-proclaimed Christians in the name of Christianity. We can look into things in the Bible and see what it says and be able to prove points that a majority of Christians believe today. Prove those points wrong. And much of these people will immediately turn against you because they don't believe in the Bible so much in what it says as much as they blindly believe in the things that men have said for them to believe what the Bible says. One of them is when a man told the crowd that were going to rape two other men that were under his home, visitors, in order to keep them from raping the men. He said, they're under my protection. Take my virgin daughter or daughters. I can't remember which. Take them instead. Do what you want. They said, no, bring out the men. We want to have sex with the men. And people come up with excuses on why that was acceptable for him to do that. But we're not looking at it being socially acceptable. We're looking at what God thought of that, and nowhere in the Bible did it condone that man on a moral level. Now, it shows how women were viewed and how terrible that is. But God never said it was okay for him to do that. And we see this again and again in the Bible where someone will do something and immediately people think that God found it acceptable, even though it never states that anywhere in the Bible whether it was acceptable or not. So we need to start taking seriously what these different religious beliefs say, um, literally, in what the context, what the meaning were at that previous time during the time of the writings. Now, don't get me wrong, you will also find some of the stuff is completely unacceptable. You will see that there are things that are condoned in some religions that are objectively, morally wrong, such as a prophet can do something that's evil and sinful, but because he's the one doing it, it makes it okay. Well, yeah, okay. At that point, you can dismiss that whole religion. Um, if it's got a, something found in there that's absurd on a moral level. But again, we need to start judging these belief systems by their own criteria. And I do that with Christianity all the time. I judge it by its own criteria, which has to be met in order to accept it. And I'll tell you this, when you start doing that, people will get extremely angry and extremely offensive, which if they really were part of that religion, they would be very open to understanding their own belief system on a greater level, especially when it comes to better understanding the morality of it. But anyway, that's just what I think.